Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the 2020 film Tenet, starring John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh, directed by Christopher Nolan and produced by Warner Brothers and Syncope. And I'm joined by a special guest co-host,
Marie.
So Tenet is one of the first films I've seen in a movie theater, or we've seen in a movie theater, in probably almost a year.
Easily, yeah.
It's been a long time. And when we went to the movie theater, it was all but empty. There's hardly anyone in there.
I'd say maybe, 15 people maximum, all spread out?
All spread out, yeah. It was a pretty empty theater. And so I haven't really been disappointed by any of Christopher Nolan movies, and like most of his past movies, this one is kind of like a mind-bending one, and it's one of those movies you're going to have to watch more than once, for sure, to get it all to sink in. So in this video, we're going to be talking about some spoilers, so I'll give a quick rundown of the plot. So John David Washington is a CIA agent who, during a mission, is captured and tortured, but is able to get a suicide pill and seemingly kills himself. But then isn't dead because the suicide pill is fake, but then is recruited by an organization called Tenet. And where he comes to realize that there is a much larger thing going on in the world, which is a temporal Cold War. And that's this group, Tenet, and certain people around the world, the secret organization has come across objects that have been inverted. That is, they run backwards through time instead of forwards. And so there is a weapons dealer that is basically being a broker between some unknown faction in the future and the present. And they are sending him back these relics that have been inverted back through time for him to then sell on the black market. And so it's basically John David Washington's job, along with his partner, Robert Pattinson, to put a stop to it. And that's the plot in as crunched down of a nutshell as I can make it. So first I'll start off. What did you think of this movie, Marie?
I thought it was really good. I knew nothing about it. Like, I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know. I just watched the trailer before we went yesterday. Overall, I was entertained. Like what we talked about, the sound for me was very frustrating.
Yes.
Because there were so many times you couldn't hear the dialogue.
Yeah, and I actually thought it was something wrong with our theater because the music and the sound effects are so loud, it drowns out the dialogue, and the movie's plot is hard to follow as it is because there's so much going on, and that not being able to hear the dialogue is actually kind of frustrating.
Yeah. And
turns out this wasn't our theater. This is actually how the sound is mixed in this movie.
I don't understand why.
Because we watched a couple other different reviews, and they said the same thing. Both reviews complained about this, that a lot of the scenes, it's very difficult to hear the dialogue, and some scenes you can't hear the dialogue at all.
Yeah, I think I leaned over to you a couple times to go, wait, what did he say? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Which that part of the film, why they mix the sound like that, I don't know, but for me, that's actually really frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to pay attention to everything that's going on in the movie to get the whole gist of it.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I was entertained the whole time, if not a lot confused, though, just because it's a very confusing movie. And certain points I found it kind of hard on my eyes. You know, just the way they did some of the special effects. Like, it was like, kind of like, wow, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, highly recommend the movie, but the sound was agonizing.
Yeah, that was the biggest drawback to the movie, I have to say, is the sound mix. It's frustrating. And I don't know why they did it that way. Now, I have to say, I really like this movie. Glad I seen it in the theaters. And the plot, it's pretty plot heavy.
Yeah.
Very plot heavy. And so you got to pay attention to a movie. It's not some movie you can just casually watch going in and out of the room. You have to sit down. You got to pay attention to it. If not, you're going to be completely lost.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a movie I'm going to have to see more than once to get it.
Well, and I had to go to the restroom. And then when I came back, I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Usually you can go to a movie, if you need to go to the washroom, you can pick up what's going on. But in that like few minutes that I was out of the theater, suddenly I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Who's that guy? Where'd they come from? Like, it just sort of, I mean, I eventually kind of figured it out, but it was like, yeah, if any little minute you miss kind of messes you up because it's so detail heavy.
Yeah, there's a lot of details, a lot to soak in. So now I have to say that the lead of the movie, John David Washington, I really liked him.
Yeah, I think he did an incredible job.
Yeah, I thought he was really good, and actually, I really like Robert Pattinson in this movie.
I when I first saw he was in it, I was like, oh my god, no.
Because everyone,
not the Twilight guy.
Everyone thinks of him as a sparkly vampire guy.
You know, I've only ever seen him in one movie that we've talked about. Not a good way to see his acting. Call it that way. Other than Twilight, but so I at first was expecting him to be very like blah, very you know, but he surprised me, and I have to admit I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, he did a really good job, and he was entertaining. He actually had facial expressions.
Yeah, it's nothing like...
it's nothing like what the image everyone has in their brain.
Of Twilight. Yeah, he's totally broken away from that whole Twilight thing.
And you gotta feel bad for the guy, because now time anybody sees his name, all they think of is the bland, weird, emo vampire.
Yeah. Like, I think he's getting some pretty big roles, so I think he's starting to leave that behind now.
Yeah.
He's starting to break out of that for sure.
Taking him a while, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think this movie's definitely going to help, because he's really good in this film, too.
Yeah, he does an incredible job.
And Kenneth Branagh as the controlling Russian guy, he did a good job.
He was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, really? Like, I don't want to get into spoilers yet, or...
No, we can talk spoilers. I've already given the spoiler.
Okay, so when he is like, when it turns out the whole thing is because he's dying.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's got what, pancreatic cancer?
Pancreatic cancer.
And the whole reason he's going along with the weird future people.
Yeah.
Is because he's like, well, if I'm dying, nobody can have the world. And I'm like, what kind of level of crazy are you?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? But he does an incredible job.
Yeah, he does
at
do an
being
incredible
super
job.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the other thing is, as far as time travel stories go, this is a pretty unique one, the way they do the time travel.
It is. For me, that part was almost a little frustrating, though.
Yeah.
Because, again, there's a part, I guess we are doing spoilers, so it's fine, but the whole premise or the plot of the movie is there's people from the future. We don't know how far in the future. They don't
specify, yeah.
They've sent back this inverted stuff because their whole thing is they want to destroy the whole world in the past.
Yes.
Because in their weird logic, by doing that, their future is better.
Yeah, because for some reason they blame the current generation, which is like present day current generation, for ruining the environment that they have to live in. There's no rivers.
There's no. I think they said rivers have run
dry. They want to destroy us, but that's a big that doesn't make sense in the movie.
Because like, okay, sure, you want to reduce some environmental impact, but if you destroy the whole world, you won't be born.
Yeah, you won't be born.
Yeah. That's where time movies for me are frustrating, because like, yes, I know there can't be set rules because it's not real, but you know what I mean? There's the logic behind that one was really frustrating, because I'm like, okay, like you could shove a few of this and put it off into, okay, this is how they're doing time travel. But if they destroy literally everyone on the planet, everyone, they don't get born no matter how you dice it.
Yeah, they don't get born. So that's kind of, and I think it's because the what's going on in the future is left really vague.
Yeah,
we don't know what this future world is like, or why they're doing it. So we don't know, is this like a government in the future that's doing this, or is it just some radical crazy faction of people in the future?
They don't specify that, so you don't know.
Yeah, you don't get to know anything about the future outside of
they hate us.
Yeah, and then a scientist that created the technology to invert things and created time travel realized what it was capable of and couldn't live with it, so she killed herself.
Yeah, that's the only thing they kind of say. Yeah, that's all we know.
And hid her technology in different locations in the past. And now this Russian guy is going to reassemble it all and destroy the world.
Simply because he's dying.
Simply because he's dying. And he, so it's basically it's a race against time for them to save the whole world from absolute destruction. But yeah, I thought the time travel part was pretty unique, how when they get inverted, they have to wait that much time to go backwards. So if it was 10 days in the past, they have to wait 10 days to get back to that point in time, because the world's inverted, so the world's literally running backwards for them.
Yeah. Like, and certain scenes of that I found a little hard on my eyes.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, the way it was going backwards was just, like, it looked really cool, but at the same time it was like, oh, okay. A little bit too much visually for me, personally.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time with that sometimes. But, like, it looked incredible. And they did an incredible job. And there's parts towards the end of the movie that you're like, what the heck? What's going on here? How did this happen? But then at the end, when he goes, like, fully back.
Yeah, then you understand all that stuff.
You understand it all, and you're like,
clicks together.
Crap, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, it was really distracting, that little kind of, I don't know if you'd call it a plot hole or whatever you want to call it, about how the time, their theory as to why they're doing this doesn't make any sense. So for me, at a few points, I was like, but wait a minute. I don't care who you are. You destroy the whole world. You don't exist.
Yeah.
Unless you somehow protect just your ancestors. You don't exist.
Yeah, that the part doesn't make sense. And that just comes from where they leave the futures in, like, such a state of mystery.
Yeah. So maybe if there was more, you might be like, oh, okay, this is their weird plan.
Yeah.
But because you don't have those details, like, I found myself quite distracted when I realized that's what was happening, because I kept thinking about it, going, well, wait a minute, like, and then I'd go, well, maybe this, no, not if they're killing everybody. That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, like, overall, incredible.
Yeah,
but
great movie, yeah.
There was I'm like, at first I was like, not at first. A good chunk of the movie I was super confused.
Yeah, they don't reveal much because you don't really know what's going on for at least the first half of the film.
At least.
I would say even mystery.
the first like 3/4 of the film, you're like,
you don't know what they kind of start to explain that things are getting inverted. You start to figure, okay, well, time travel's involved, but exactly what's going on, they leave it a complete mystery.
Yeah.
And and then some of the fight scenes are pretty trippy because they're fighting against guys that are inverted when they're not and stuff. So,
and when they did that first scene when he's fighting, I guess, himself.
Yeah.
It turns out in the hallway. At first, I was watching it going, "This is the weirdest looking fight scene I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And I was like, they're not even like doing anything. It just looks like they're kind of like weirdly rolling. Like, I don't.
Yeah, because some of the moves are going backwards. And
I couldn't figure it out while watching it, and I was like, the heck kind of fight scene is this? Because my brain didn't process like what I'm looking at yet. You don't know what you're looking at. It just looks really weird. It looks super cool, but it also looks really weird. You're like, this is the weirdest fight I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, this is a movie, like, I want to see it again to see how it is on second viewing.
Yeah.
Because you can pick up on a lot of details now that you know the premise and you know what's going on. You can pick up on a lot of stuff at the beginning of the film where you don't know what's happening or anything like that. You're lost on what's going on at the beginning of the film.
For sure.
So this is definitely one I have to watch a few more times. But
definitely. Yeah,
I really like the whole mystery part. And I kind of like that they left the future vague and mysterious, that we don't really know why they want to destroy the past and why their logic doesn't make sense. It's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, I know you almost have to make up your own theory as why. Because the future is left really vague. They don't show the future at all, that all this stuff is coming back from.
No.
And they don't really specify how far in the future it is.
Yeah, so we don't know, is it like 100 years?
Yeah.
Is it 50 years?
The only thing they say is that scientists that created the time travel technology was born generations from now. But they don't specify like how many generations.
Yeah,
like 10 generations,
so all you know is
it's
like a good chunk in the future, but you don't know like.
Yeah, so the future is left really mysterious, which I really liked. And but yeah, I thought this was a really good... I don't know, it's kind of hard to say if it was as good as Interstellar or not. It's been a long time since I've seen Interstellar. I've seen it in the theaters, like that one time. Same thing with Inception, the Dream movie. Like,
I don't think I've seen Inception. You
haven't seen Inception? Okay. I'd have to rewatch those films, but because I really liked Inception. I really liked the whole concept of that. I'd have to rewatch that again, but it's definitely, like, those three movies, like, they're definitely... pretty close. I'm not really sure how I'd rank them.
Yeah. And the other thing I found interesting is the very end with Robert Pattinson's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because at the part where they're like, you find out that this guy's like, yeah, I'm taking you all down. And then they're in like that weird cave thing.
Mm-hmm.
You see someone dead and he focuses on the guy's backpack.
Yeah.
But I was confused by that.
Yeah.
Because like you eventually figure out at the very end that it's Robert Pattinson's character.
Mm-hmm.
So he says something like, "Oh, because it sounds like Robert Pattinson's character's from the future."
Yeah, that's where
Like,
it kind of gets confusing because it's
you know what I mean.
Robert
like,
Pattinson
like, what?
was the way it's Robert Pattinson was recruited originally by John David Washington's character in the future, then sent back in time to recruit John David Washington.
Yeah, like it's super.
So yeah, it's kind of, and so John David Washington was ultimately recruited by a future version of himself.
Yes.
So he's like kind of like the main guy, but you don't know that till the very end. It's kind of like the last.
Yeah, you don't
twist
really
of the
know
movie.
what's going. Yeah, but like it's confusing to me because it's like because Robert Pattinson goes, yeah, like you recruited me, and he goes, what? No, like he's all confused, and then you see the little thing on his bag, the little orange string thing, and then you realize that it's him that they saw, but I don't understand how it can be him.
Because he came from another future.
Is that future him, or
that's
is
a future version of him that you don't?
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it gets confusing
like,
because at the end he says, "I got to go on another mission." So that's the mission where he goes back in time and they find him dead.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the movie.
Okay, because I was just like, how are you? Are you dead or are you not dead? Like, I don't understand what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that in there. There's a lot of like things like that make the movie a bit hard to follow, like those kind of details. But I think you'll definitely get the overall gist of the movie.
I understood the movie.
Yeah.
There's just little details that I'm like, huh?
Yeah, but to catch all the details and to catch like all the other things in the movie, you definitely have to watch this movie more than once, for sure.
Yeah, and like there was another scene that like made me scratch my head. So the super tall lady, what was her name?
Yeah, I think the actress's name was Elizabeth Debicki. I don't know. I can't remember the character's name.
I can't remember it either. So in the very end, the weapons dealer, whatever that lady's name was.
Oh yeah,
they go back to kill her.
Yeah.
Because he originally made them a deal like, no, if I do this, she's off limits. You leave her alone.
Yeah.
But how does she call future him or past? Is it future him or past him? Like that whole scene, I was like...
Yeah, that's where you have to watch the movie more than once to figure that scene out.
And how do you call him? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, you'd have to watch the movie again.
Yeah.
Those are the things that make it, you'd have to watch the movie again. That's the things that upon first viewing, you're going to be a little bit confused.
Yeah.
And then you have to watch the movie more than once to figure out exactly, okay, now this is why this is happening in the movie.
Yeah, because those two moments like really left me going, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Like I thought I knew what was going on here, but wait.
But yeah, no, for I'm finally getting out to see a movie. It was really
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't sure what the theater was going to be like.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize it had been that long since we'd gone to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
But then as we were talking, we were like, well, what was the last thing we for sure saw in theaters?
Yeah.
And we think was what, Spider-Man or something.
Yeah, it was Spider-Man, I think, the last thing we saw in theaters.
And then, we didn't really see anything in the fall, and then...
Yeah.
So, it was super weird. Like, I wasn't sure how the theaters would be. Like, are they going to be packed? Are they going to be... But, like, I think there was nobody beside you, nobody in front of you, nobody behind you. So it was actually, I thought it was lovely. I'm like, I would watch a movie like this all the time. This is great. I don't have some weirdo breathing heavily next to me or crunching in my ear. Like, you know?
It was kind of nice in a way to have that much space around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice to see a movie like that.
Yeah.
Because the theater was, almost empty.
Yeah, like it was less distracting to watch it, especially a movie like that.
Where you really got to pay attention.
Like if I had some kid popping an M&M's tube, like we did in one movie that we saw where
that was Endgame. They're popping the Infinity War. Infinity War.
Yeah, and it was the mini M&M's container, and he wouldn't stop for like 20 minutes before a stranger got mad at him, and then the mom was offended. But so like a movie like that, I couldn't have handled.
Yeah, that because
a lot of distraction because I would have gotten frustrated because it's like I don't understand what's happening and you're crunching in my ear or you're doing whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like that was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was actually nice to see a movie like in that see a movie like that. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. So I would definitely recommend go see this movie in the theaters while you can.
Yeah, I think it's very theater worthy. Like,
oh, totally, yeah,
it's
totally
worth
is.
the money you're gonna spend to go to a theater.
It is a good science fiction movie, and it's a really cool twist on time travel, which one that I've never seen before in a film, as far as time travel twists go, and it's a good mystery. Definitely check this movie out. So I think we'll wrap it up right there. So that's everything we got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and we will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.